everyone, it's Meade Skelton, and I'm sharing my 23andMe results on 23andMe. I'll make a disclaimer first that I already know most of my ancestry, especially on my mother's side. I already knew that they're mostly British and Irish, and they came to Virginia about 1620 or so, and I know that my dad's side is mostly German, and they came over in the early 20th century to the Midwestern states. So I already pretty much know my ancestry composition, so a lot of this is not news to me. There are a few things that are puzzling on the test. First of all, my Native American ancestry did not show up, and a few other things, but I'll explain why Native American ancestry doesn't show up on the test. And so let's break it down for a minute. So here is my genetic makeup. So British and Irish came out on top, and that makes sense because my mother's side is mostly that, and it shows the concentration is mostly in Ireland, which makes quite a bit of sense to me. So looking at that, that's what comes out on top. And then Eastern European at 17.4%. So that would be my dad's mother's side. Her parents were from Lithuania, which incidentally, Lithuania is a non-Slavic country. It's a Baltic state, and Lithuanians are considered Balts, so they are non-Slavic people. Just throwing that out there. And so that makes sense that, Lithuanian shows up. I already knew about that. So French and German. Now, this surprises me that it's so low, because my dad's father's family is almost all from Germany. My great-grandfather was born in Germany and 100% German. So it should be a lot higher, and also have more French ancestry on my mother's side. But this says it's concentrated in Germany. So, yeah. And then it gives you a little feedback there. I'm saying we predict that you had ancestors that lived in Germany in the last 200 years. Okay, this is where it gets cuckoo. It says I'm a Jew. Oh no, oy vey. I say there is no Jew in me, but apparently they think so. Now, I have no idea where the Jew comes from, because I know it'd be most likely on my dad's side. My mother's family, we have books on her family because they're pretty prominent people, and we traced all the names. It lists all the names on her family, so there's no Jews there, and it goes all the way back to King Edward III. So if there's a Jew in my family tree, it's most likely on my dad's side, and probably the Lithuanian, because Lithuania had a lot more Jews. I'm guessing it was a woman probably married my great-great-great-grandfather. But even according to Adolf Hitler, I would not be a real Jew. And let's face it, if I were a Jew, I'd be smarter and have more money. So I don't know where the Jew comes from. But that is a surprise to me, and I don't know where that comes from. But my father's parents were definitely not Jews. They were Catholic, and their parents were Catholic, and their parents were Catholic or Lutheran, so I'm guessing it has to be back a little further than that. Okay. The Scandinavian is 3.4%, Norway, concentrated in Norway. Okay, broadly European, 34.4%. That's significant. So most of my ancestors came from Northern Europe. I have a few from Spain, but most of them came from, Great Britain, Ireland, France, Germany, those areas. Now here's why the Native American doesn't show up on the test. If you scroll down to all the things listed, all the populations, they don't list any Native American Indian tribes. All they list are South American countries. So when you get down to here, East Asian Native American, I'm waiting for it to go through. So when you get down here, you don't see any, why did it do that? Okay, go back one. So you don't see any, I already know that, okay. Okay, so this is the timeline thing, which are, when you go to all tested populations, so there are, it doesn't list any Native American tribes on the test. So there's no Algonquin, there's no Cherokee, there's no Potomac. So if you get, some people are saying, "Oh, that proves that you're not Native American." No, it doesn't. If there's no tribes to compare it to, how can you prove it? Okay, so I found the place under East Asian Native American. These are the list of peoples, and Southeast. So under Native American, Argentina, Aruba, Bolivia, Brazil, there are no tribes. No Indian tribes are listed. So somebody might mistakenly believe they are Native American when they're not, and then other people might say, "Oh, well, that proves that you're a fake Indian because you don't see any tribe." But if there's no tribes, then there's no blood to compare it to. So it's most likely that's why it didn't show up on the test. Here's a summary too. It can go to. I'm on a bigger screen now. So ancestry timeline. Okay, so probably my third great grandparent was Jewish. Okay, oy vey. So yeah, I'm not really paying attention to that. I know that I am definitely a Christian. So let's go to. Here's an interesting under health reports. So I'm going to traits, and under here, under bald spot, the combination of your genetics and other factors makes you unlikely to have a bald spot. So yes, I'm unlikely to go bald. So yeah, I don't know. So that shows that probably a lot of my hair issues are probably related to my Lyme disease and not genetics. And even under early hair loss, it says genetic factors make you unlikely to experience hair loss or thinning before age 40. Well, I will be 40 next year, but, well, so that lays to rest that, according to my genetics, my DNA, I'm not supposed to be bald. Back hair, this is an interesting thing. Likely to have little or no upper back hair. Yep, that's me. I don't have any body hair there. So it has all these different other things you can do that tell you about. These are just different traits, and this also tells you about certain diseases you might be exposed to. Luckily, I have none of these. Pretty much tested negative for all of these in my DNA. Genetic health risk. The only thing might have a problem with macular degeneration, 2 copies of genetic variant. But as far as I know, I don't know anybody in my family with that. This also does other things. Let's see. Under eye color, it says I should be brown or hazel. So also this talks about my maternal haplogroup is H, which is pretty common. Stuff like that. So you can find all this stuff. It's all in the test. Marie Antoinette might be a relative. So anyway, this is all in the test. My paternal haplogroup is RM417. So that shows where they ended up and all that sort of thing. Anyway, this is an interesting test. So I recommend this for mostly, I would say this is for entertainment purposes mostly. I don't think it's not 100% accurate, but it's not inaccurate either. Most of this checks out, except for the Jew part, but most of this is pretty much what I knew. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I'm Meade Skelton, and check out my website, meadskeltonsplace.com.